I never wanted to attend that company party. Something in my gut told me to stay home. But as a junior clerk at Patterson Industries, attendance wasn't really optional. I'm Sarah Mitchell, and this is how my life changed forever in ways I never could have imagined. Growing up, I learned early that nothing comes easy. My parents died in a car crash when I was 16, leaving me to bounce between foster homes until I aged out of the system. Despite everything, I put myself through community college, working 3 jobs just to afford basic necessities. When I finally landed an entry-level position at Patterson Industries, it felt like my first real break. The company was massive, a global corporation dealing in everything from real estate to technology. I was just a small cog in the machine, processing paperwork in the HR department, but I was proud of even having my foot in the door. My direct supervisor, Linda Patterson, was the CEO's wife, and she never let anyone forget it. Linda Patterson was everything I wasn't, dripping in designer clothes, perfectly manicured, and thoroughly entitled. From day one, she seemed to take personal offense at my very existence. Maybe it was my secondhand clothes or the fact that I brought lunch from home instead of ordering from expensive restaurants like she did. Whatever the reason, she made it her mission to remind me of my place. "Sarah," she'd say, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "be a dear and fetch my coffee. And try not to spill it this time. That cardigan you're wearing has seen enough wear already." Her comments always had an audience, and the office would fill with muffled snickers. I endured it all silently. This job was my lifeline, my chance at building something better. But everything came to a head at the annual company gala. The event was held at the Grand Plaza Hotel, the kind of place I'd only seen in magazines. I spent 3 months saving to buy a simple black dress from a department store clearance rack. It wasn't designer, but it was elegant enough. Or so I thought. The moment I walked in, Linda's sharp laugh cut through the crowd. "Oh my," she announced loudly, gesturing to her friends with her champagne glass. "Look who decided to join us. Sarah, dear, didn't you read the dress code? This isn't a funeral. That dress certainly looks like it came from one." Her friends tittered, and I felt my cheeks burn. But Linda wasn't finished. She sauntered over, her red-soled shoes clicking against the marble floor. "You know," she continued, her voice carrying across the now silent room, "some people just don't understand their place. A company gala is for people who contribute value, not poor clerks who probably spent their whole month's salary just to buy that tragic excuse for a dress." I stood there frozen as tears threatened to spill. Then my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but anything was better than standing there under Linda's cruel gaze. "Excuse me," I whispered, hurrying toward the hotel's quiet corridor. "Is this Sarah Mitchell?" A formal voice asked whom I answered. "Yes, this is she." "Ms. Mitchell, this is Robert Chen from Chen and Associates Law Firm. I'm calling about your uncle, James Patterson. I'm afraid he passed away last week." My heart stopped. "I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. I don't have an uncle." "On the contrary, Ms. Mitchell. James Patterson was your mother's brother. He changed his name when he started his business empire. He's been watching over you from afar all these years, and now, well, he's left you everything." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. "Everything," I whispered. "Yes, Ms. Mitchell. Patterson Industries, all its subsidiaries, his personal fortune, approximately $8.2 billion in total assets. As his sole heir, it's all yours." I gripped the wall for support. James Patterson, the founder of Patterson Industries, the mysterious recluse who no one had seen in years, was my uncle, and he left me everything. "There's more," Mr. Chen continued. "Your uncle left a letter explaining everything. If you'd like, I can have a car pick you up now to review the documents." As I ended the call, I turned to find Linda standing there, her face white as a sheet. She'd heard everything. You can't be," she stammered. I straightened my shoulders, years of suppressed confidence suddenly flooding back. "I believe you were just saying something about knowing one's place, Linda." The next few hours were a blur. Mr. Chen's car, a sleek black limousine, picked me up from the hotel. As Linda and the other party guests watched in shocked silence, I walked out with my head held high. At the law firm, I learned the full story. My mother and Uncle James had been close as children, but their parents' toxic marriage drove them apart. When James changed his name and started building his empire, he lost touch with my mother. He only learned about her death and my existence years later. He wanted to approach you, Mr. Chen explained. But he worried you might think he was trying to buy your affection. Instead, he watched over you from afar, making sure you always had job opportunities, though he never interfered directly. He wanted you to build your own strength. The letter Uncle James left me brought tears to my eyes. My dearest niece, I've watched you grow into an extraordinary woman. Despite every hardship, you've shown grace, resilience, and determination. These are the qualities that build true success, not inherited wealth or social status. I'm leaving you everything not because you need it, but because you've proven you deserve it. Use it wisely, and remember, kindness and integrity are worth more than all the money in the world. As I sat in my tiny apartment that night, surrounded by documents detailing my new reality, my phone buzzed continuously with messages from coworkers and executives who've ignored me just hours before. But one message caught my eye, an email from Linda Patterson. Sarah, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive my behavior. I never knew. I smiled, thinking of all the times she'd humiliated me, all the coffee runs and snide comments. Tomorrow, I would walk into Patterson Industries not as a clerk, but as its owner, and I had some changes in mind. But first, I needed to understand exactly what I'd inherited. As I began going through the company files Mr. Chen had given me, I discovered something that made my blood run cold. Hidden in the records was evidence of a scheme so shocking, it would change everything again. Looking at the documents before me, I realized this was just the beginning of my story. The documents scattered across my coffee table told a story that made my newfound inheritance seem like just the tip of the iceberg. Linda Patterson and her husband, CEO Richard Patterson, had been systematically embezzling millions from the company for years. But that wasn't even the worst part. Hidden in a folder marked Project Phoenix were emails between Linda and Richard discussing my parents' accident. It wasn't an accident at all. They had discovered Uncle James's connection to my mother and were getting too close to exposing Linda and Richard's schemes. The Pattersons had arranged everything from the faulty brakes to the corrupted police report. My hands shook as I read email after email. They had watched me struggle through foster care, work multiple jobs, and endure Linda's abuse, all while knowing they were responsible for my parents' death. The timestamp showed the last email was sent just hours before the gala. The next morning, I walked into Patterson Industries wearing a tailored Chanel suit, my first purchase as a billionaire. The security team, already notified of the ownership change, nodded respectfully. "Good morning, Ms. Mitchell." I headed straight to the executive floor, where I found Linda already holding court in her office. She jumped up when she saw me, her designer smile plastered on her face. "Sarah, I was just telling everyone how I always saw such potential in you. In fact, save it." I cut her off, my voice ice cold. "Security will escort you out. The police are waiting in the lobby." Her face went from fake warmth to panic in seconds. "Police? What are you talking about? Project Phoenix ring any bells, Linda? Or should we discuss my parents' accident?" The color drained from her face. "You don't understand. Richard handled all that. I just helped plan their murder and watched their daughter struggle for years. I finished for her. Don't worry, Richard's being picked up too." As security led her away, her screams echoed through the halls. "You can't do this. Do you know who I am?" "Actually," I replied calmly, "I know exactly who you are. And more importantly, I know what you did." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. The evidence was irrefutable. Richard and Linda Patterson were arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud, embezzlement, and first-degree murder. Their perfect world crumbled as quickly as mine had changed. During their trial, I sat in a courtroom every day, watching as they were sentenced to life in prison without parole. Linda's designer clothes were replaced with an orange jumpsuit, her manicured nails now plain and short. But revenge wasn't my end goal. Uncle James's words about kindness and integrity echoed in my mind. I used my new position to transform Patterson Industries. We established a foundation helping foster kids through college, created job training programs for underprivileged youth, and implemented strict ethical business practices. 5 years later, I stood at the podium accepting the Humanitarian of the Year award. The company had doubled in size, but more importantly, we'd helped thousands of people build better lives. After the ceremony, I visited my parents' grave, placing fresh flowers beside their headstone. "I hope you're proud," I whispered. "Everything I am, everything I've built, it's because of the strength you taught me." As I turned to leave, I noticed an elderly woman watching me. She approached slowly, tears in her eyes. Ms. Mitchell, I'm Margaret Patterson, James's and your mother's mother. Your grandmother. I froze, studying her face. She had my mother's eyes. I've wanted to approach you for so long, she continued, her voice shaking. When I heard what Richard and Linda did, I'm so sorry. I failed your mother, failed the whole family. But watching you transform the company, helping others instead of seeking revenge, you're everything your mother was and more. I thought about Uncle James's words about family and forgiveness. Taking my grandmother's trembling hand, I smiled. Would you like to get coffee? I'd love to hear stories about Mom. As we walked away together, I realized that true success isn't measured in dollars or revenge. It's measured in how we rise above our circumstances to help others. Linda and Richard had tried to break me, but instead they'd made me stronger. And now I was using that strength to break the cycle of cruelty and build something better. The clerk they'd once mocked had become not just their boss, but something they could never be, a force for positive change. And that was the sweetest revenge of all. That night, as I sat in my office overlooking the city, I opened my mother's old locket, the only thing I had left of her. Inside was a faded photo and a tiny note I'd never noticed before. In my mother's handwriting were the words, "To my dearest Sarah, your heart is your greatest strength. Use it wisely." I smiled, knowing that's exactly what I'd done. The poor clerk they tried to break had become something far more powerful than they could have imagined. Not just a wealthy woman, but a living testament to the power of resilience, integrity, and compassion.
I pulled my old Tesla Model 3 into the circular driveway of the St. Regis, parking it between my father's Bentley and my sister Madison's brand new Porsche. The valet's eyes flickered between the cars, clearly wondering why someone would bring such a modest vehicle to Sunday brunch. If only he knew this was the prototype, personally modified in my company's lab. "Olivia, darling, you're late," Mom called from the terrace, her Hermes scarf fluttering in the breeze. "And still driving that economical car, I see." I smoothed my intentionally simple black dress, a custom piece that looked deceptively basic. Traffic was heavy downtown. "The tech district is busy these days." "Tech district," Madison snickered into her mimosa. "Is that what we're calling your little startup garage now?" Dad barely looked up from his Wall Street Journal. "You know, Peterson's son is looking for a social media manager. Much more suitable than this coding nonsense." I checked my phone discreetly. The NASDAQ would open in 30 minutes. My COO had sent 17 messages already. "How is the, what do you call it? App development?" Mom waved her hand vaguely. "Making those little phone games?" "Artificial intelligence solutions," I corrected, ordering just water. "And it's going well. Well enough to afford a real car?" Madison smirked. "That Tesla's practically vintage." If she only knew the prototype AI system hidden under its hood was worth more than her Porsche's annual maintenance budget. Speaking of success, Mom brightened. Madison's interior design firm just landed the Peterson contract. A full renovation of their Hampton estate. "Fascinating," I murmured, watching CNBC play silently on the bar's television. "Any minute now." "That's real business." Dad finally looked up. "Not this technology hobby of yours. 5 years wasted in that warehouse office." "It's not a warehouse anymore," I said quietly. "We moved." "Oh." Finally gave up the startup dream. Madison leaned forward eagerly. "Not exactly." I checked my watch. We needed more space after the Pentagon contract. Dad's coffee cup stopped halfway to his lips. "Pentagon." The television behind them switched to breaking news. The ticker tape began scrolling my company's name. "What contract?" Mom's voice had lost its condescending edge. "The artificial intelligence defense system we developed." I pulled out my tablet, sliding it across the table. "The same one that just made us the fastest growing tech company in history." The brunch terrace fell silent as CNBC's headline filled the screen. "Quantum Mind Technologies IPO rocks market, youngest female tech founder sets new record." Dad's coffee cup hung frozen in midair. Mom's mimosa tipped, staining her Hermes scarf. Madison's fork clattered against fine china. "That Tesla." I smiled, standing up. "It's running our newest AI system. The vintage look is just a cover. Rather like how you've seen me these past 5 years. Only seeing what you expected to see." My phone buzzed again. If you'll excuse me, I believe I have a stock exchange opening bell to ring. Virtually, of course. From my little startup garage. The garage that now occupied 3 city blocks and employed 2,000 people. The day was just beginning and the market was about to learn what I'd known all along. Sometimes the most powerful technology comes in the most unassuming package. The St. Regis Terrace buzzed with whispers as other brunch patrons began recognizing me from the CNBC broadcast. Mom's socialite friends who moments ago had been politely ignoring my presence, suddenly found urgent reasons to pass by our table. 8 billion. Dad finally managed, his Wall Street Journal crumpled in his grip. That's impossible. Your little coding project created the most advanced AI architecture in the world. I finished watching our stock price climb on my tablet. That coding project just revolutionized autonomous defense systems, predictive analytics and quantum computing. Madison grabbed her phone, frantically Googling. But you work in that old industrial district. Silicon Valley is so last decade, I replied. Our warehouse is actually a quantum computing facility. Those tinted windows you mocked? Specialized glass for maintaining quantum states. Cost more than your Porsche. Ms. Winters. A breathless CNBC reporter appeared tableside, cameraman in tow. Any comment on Quantum Mind's historic IPO? Mom hurriedly tried to dab the mimosa stain from her scarf. Olivia, what is happening? What's happening is that your daughter just became the youngest female tech billionaire in history, the reporter answered before I could speak. Ms. Winters, how does it feel to beat every IPO record since Facebook? I stood smoothly, adjusting my simple dress. The real achievement isn't the stock price. It's proving that groundbreaking technology can come from anywhere, even a little startup garage that nobody took seriously. Speaking of garages, Madison interrupted desperately, I heard the Petersons might need their garage renovated. The Petersons signed with us last week, I said. Their entire estate is being converted into a smart property. I controlled everything. Rather beyond interior design scope, I'm afraid. Mom's face had gone pale. Last week? But Madison's contract was contingent on their technology upgrades, which my company is handling. I checked my phone again. Along with most of your client list, Madison. Turns out the ultra-wealthy prefer their homes to have military-grade AI security systems these days. The reporter's camera caught Madison's expression perfectly as realization dawned. Her interior design firm's biggest contracts were now effectively my subsidiaries. But your car, Dad protested weakly. That basic Tesla. I pulled out my keys, pressing a hidden button. Outside, the Tesla's seemingly ordinary paint shifted color, revealing the quantum dot display embedded in its surface. The valet dropped his tickets. That basic car? It's worth more than your Bentley, I said. The AI system alone could buy this hotel. Would you like a demonstration? Ms. Winters, my CEO's voice came through my earpiece. The Pentagon is requesting an immediate video call. And the Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund is offering to double their investment. Tell them I'll be there in 10 minutes, I replied. To my family I added, duty calls. The AI defense industry waits for no one. Olivia, wait. Mom stood, her composure finally cracking. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you. I laughed softly. Like you told your friends I was finding myself with my little computer games? Besides, I gestured to the CNBC broadcast still playing above the bar. I just did tell you. Along with the rest of the world. The reporter trailed me as I walked toward my car, leaving my family frozen among their shattered assumptions and cooling brunch. Behind me, I could hear Madison's phone pinging as her clients discovered who really controlled their smart home contracts now. The day was far from over and I had an empire to run, one algorithm at a time. The following week I sat in my company's quantum glass penthouse office, watching holographic displays dance across the smart windows. Our stock had doubled since the IPO, and the view of my newly acquired tech district showed construction crews expanding our campus across another city block. Your family's here, my AI assistant's voice announced smoothly. They're in the lobby-level security screening. I smiled, tapping my desk to activate the lobby cameras. Mom clutched her new Birkin bag, as if expensive accessories could still buy influence. Dad fidgeted with his Rolex, while Madison kept touching up her lipstick, clearly hoping to impress. Let them wait 15 minutes, I instructed. Then bring them up. When they finally entered my office, their expressions shifted from practiced confidence to visible awe. The quantum computing cores pulsed behind transparent walls, their cold blue light casting shadows across the minimalist space. Olivia, Mom started, then faltered as a holographic display materialized between us, showing real-time market data. Please sit. I gestured to the smart fabric chairs that adjusted automatically to each person's posture. Madison jumped when hers moved. About Sunday's revelation, Dad cleared his throat. We've been discussing as a family. Let me guess, I interrupted. You've realized the tremendous opportunities for synergy between our businesses? Madison perked up. Exactly. My design firm could handle all your office renovations. Our offices design themselves, I said, tapping my desk. The room's decor shifted instantly, cycling through various configurations. The AI handles everything from color schemes to ergonomic optimization. Well, surely my investment expertise, Dad began, is no longer relevant, I finished. Our AI trading algorithms outperform human investors by 300%. In fact, I pulled up his portfolio data with a gesture. We've been responsible for 60% of your recent gains. Those lucky trades? All guided by our system. Mom's fingers twisted her new bag strap. Darling, we're your family. Family. I stood, walking to the window. Like when you told the country club I was playing with computers instead of admitting you didn't understand what I was building. Or when Madison spread rumors about my failed career to poach my early investors. The room fell silent except for the quiet hum of quantum processors. But that's all ancient history, I turned back, smiling. I'm sure you're here about the merger offers. They exchanged confused glances. What merger offers? Madison asked. The ones your clients have been sending all week. Seems they'd rather work with the AI company directly than through intermediaries. I pulled up a holographic list of contracts. Your entire client base has approached us about smart home integration. Interesting timing. Madison's perfect makeup couldn't hide her pallor. You can't just take my clients. I'm not taking anything. They're choosing the future over. I gestured at her portfolio samples. Conventional design. Speaking of which, Dad, how's the investment firm handling the tech sector shift? He tugged at his collar. We're adapting. Really? Because your firm's AI readiness score is concerning. My board might have to reconsider allowing you to handle any of our associated funds. Your board? Mom whispered. Yes, the one that includes 3 Nobel laureates and the former head of DARPA. They're very particular about investment partners. I sat back down. But I'm sure we can work something out. Family after all. The way they flinched at the word was deeply satisfying. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. Madison, your firm will be absorbed into our smart architecture division, junior level. Dad, your investment firm can maintain a minor advisory role, under our AI's supervision. And Mom. I smiled. The country club board elections are next month. I just bought the club. You what? Mom gasped. Consider it a merger of interests. You can keep your social positions, under new management, of course. My AI assistant's voice interrupted smoothly. Ms. Winters, the Pentagon is online for the defense contract extension. Thank you, I stood. I trust you can find your way out. The AI will guide you. Oh, and Madison? That Porsche you love so much. Our autonomous driving division would love to upgrade it. Free of charge. Family discount. As they walked out looking shell-shocked, I called after them. See you at next Sunday's brunch. I'll send my car to pick you up. I paused. The one you called cheap should do nicely. The quantum cores pulsed brighter as I turned to my Pentagon call. Outside, I could see their reflections in my Tesla's color-shifting surface as they hurried to their suddenly outdated vehicles.